I recently started to get more interested in Japanese folklore and stumbled upon this nifty site that has a lot of yokai. Any Anons in here that have encountered any/know of more obscure ones?
Be me. 16 years old dude. 1/4 Japanese. Moved to Japan to live with my aunt, uncle, and cousins. She lives in a rural, seaside town about an hour or two outside of Sapporo. House faces a forest and mountains, ocean right behind it. There are also some train tracks between the backyard and ocean, but the train fell into the ocean or something a few years back and it's been defunct since. My aunt and uncle, who I'll call Rico and Noriaki, have pretty much lived their lives in this town. Cousins are both girls, twins, and a few months younger than me. I'll call them Yuiko and Aya. Noriaki is superstitious, mostly because his parents were, too. Loves to tell stories about yokai, whether they happened to him or someone he knew, they're all really entertaining. Rico doesn't seem to believe it as strongly as he does. She's my dad's sister, our family wasn't ever superstitious. Everything goes pretty well for the first few weeks. Aya and Yuiko introduce me to their friend, Fumika, and we hit it off pretty well. Find out she's just as, if not more, superstitious than Noriaki. Combine that with teenage fearlessness, she wants to find these things. I don't believe in these things, but whatever, she doesn't strike me as crazy. About a month since moving, pretty comfortable there. I like taking walks, so on days off school, I take walks in the forest and mountains to relax. One day be walking as usual. Suddenly giant fucking scream out of nowhere. Sounds exactly like someone being murdered. This is Japan, so can't brush it off to mountain lions. Different scream, from the same direction, deep in the forest. I yell into the forest, who's there? It's totally silent, nothing but my voice echoing. Something about the echo feels wrong, it's delayed, and doesn't sound quite like me. Another scream, this time closer. Fuck it, I'm not staying around for this bullshit. Turn around and book it back home. Normally it's about a half hour to get to where I was. At my speed I make it home in about 5 minutes. Noriaki's waiting at the door for me. Doesn't seem to even be surprised that I obviously sprinted home. Gets me some water and sits me down at the table.
It's harmless. Don't worry.
What.png? He smiles.
I heard the screaming, too. I've heard it before.
WTF? How'd you know about that?
I could hear it. Yamabiko are loud, but they're not dangerous.
Yamabiko. He goes on to tell me all about Yamabiko and how they echo back people's voices and can mimic any sounds they hear, like really, really loud parrots, but they look like weird dogs. He seems happy to tell me about them, but suddenly he gets serious.
You're lucky that's all you ran into, Anon. There's much worse up there.
Fuck, no more walks.
Let me come with you next time, just in case you'll run into those.
Kinda liked being alone, but Noriaki was cool enough, so I agreed. We don't bring it up in front of Rico or my cousins because they still think it's a bunch of folk stories. I'm not exactly convinced either, but I take Noriaki a bit more seriously. About 2 weeks after Yamabiko incident. Still walking, Noriaki is good company. Heard some out of the ordinary stuff, but nothing of any note. Told Fumika the story and she got excited. Wanted to go to the forest near my house. Okay, why not? Plan to meet a few days later. Aya decides to tag along too. I kind of feel bad breaking my promise to Noriaki, but Fumika is cute and my desire to get laid later outweighs Noriaki. She shows up, and Aya and I make up something about how we're going to the store or something. Rico is okay with it. Noriaki is a little suspicious, but in hindsight, he might have been nervous. Walk down the street until we're out of their sight, then duck into the forest. Cloudy day plus the tree cover makes the forest darker than usual. Aya already looks properly spooked by the atmosphere, but Fumika is just fucking fearless. Keep on walking for a while, but find nothing. I'm getting jittery. Aya looks like she's about to piss herself, and even Fumika seems uneasy. At this rate we'll just get lost, so we decide to head back down. Start moving faster, but forest getting darker. Starts to rain, take shelter under a good-sized tree. I have no idea how long we were out there for. We thought someone might come looking for us. Actually we kind of hoped they would. Somewhere between the trees, I see a light. It keeps bobbing back and forth, weaving through the trees. All three of us keep watching the light. Aya says it's probably someone else on the mountain that could help us. Not exactly sure what she means at first, but she probably thought it was a flashlight. Aya stands and calls to them for help. It seems to point in our direction and starts moving towards us, keeping up that bobbing motion. Gets closer and closer, but still can't even see an outline of the person who might be holding it. As it moves towards us, I can't help but think how wrong this felt. Why didn't the person answer us? And it wasn't even that dark, so why have a flashlight? Something tells me to look to my left and I see another one of these things bobbing around, then another. Farther off but getting closer. What the actual fuck? Fumika looks really scared now. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning lights up the forest. Just the shadows of the trees. Wait. Just the trees. Nobody's holding the fucking lights. I try to tell Aya and Fumika but the words won't come out. As the light keeps getting closer, I notice it's blue, not like a flashlight, and flickering. Keep trying to tell Aya, Fumika is paralyzed, she'd probably already noticed. I keep on shitting myself uselessly. Suddenly we hear someone yelling in the distance, getting closer, fast. Someone's crashing through the forest looking for us. I recognize the voice. It's motherfucking Noriaki. He comes into view, and sees the lights, and starts to really freak out. We sprint towards him, and I pass one of the lights. From what I could see, it was a ball of blue fire a little bigger than my fist. We get the hell out of the forest as fast as we can and get inside. Status, I nearly actually shit myself, Aya has pissed herself, and Fumika is ghostly pale. Noriaki tells Aya to take a shower, and when she leaves the room, he gives a cold stare to Fumika and I. Thinking he's about to blow a fucking fuse, instead just sighs. I ask how he knew we were in the forest. He said he didn't, just felt something wrong and rushed off to the forest. Saw us surrounded by these fire wisps, that's when we saw him too. Calls the fire onibi, which is identical to a will-o'-the-wisp. Paranormal fire created from a dead animal or person's spirit. Can also be created from strong, raw malice. Lures people away and consumes their life force, leaves nothing but a dead husk behind. Apparently they trap the life force inside of them, basically imprisoning your soul for eternity. The Yamabaiko wasn't really that much to spook me, but Jesus Christ, this scared the shit out of me, and Noriaki knows it. Warns me about the forest again. I listen this time because now I know what he meant before when he said there was worse in the forest. Continues about how people got lost in the forest and never came back when he was a kid. He goes on until Aya finishes her shower. I hear him tell her later that day that it was just a natural phenomenon caused by lightning electrifying some gas in the air, but he knows it's bullshit. Fumika goes home when the rain lets up some, but it keeps on raining all day and night. Can't sleep well that night. Swear I see blue glows at the edge of the forest. This one haunts me to this day because I can't stop thinking about how we'd fallen right into their trap and how easily they could have killed us. The rest of the spring and summer pass uneventfully. With all our free time in summer break, you'd think we would find something, but not. Again, very small, insignificant events that were probably something that wasn't yokai. One day in fall, Noriaki takes Aya, Yuiko, and I to his family grave. Pray, keep it clean, etc. Notice someone off to the side. Woman, really pale and dressed in white. Not quite out of place enough to set off any major alarms, still human. Noriaki notices, whispers not to stare. Stop. No red flags yet because I figured he was trying not to be rude. Yet. We finish, but I can still see the woman. Hasn't moved an inch. Okay, maybe she's just busy. Our car is the only one. Okay, maybe she walked. Start seeing her out of the corner of my eye as we go home. Yokai. Try to tell Noriaki about it. Riko overhears. Goes rigid and leaves the room. No clue what that was about. I assume I saw a ghost, just check in with Noriaki to make sure it doesn't want to kick my ass. He doesn't know. So that night I try to sleep knowing there is a ghost following us around that may or may not want to kill us all. Guess what I can't? Try to make myself forget about it by watching some YouTube. It's kinda weird to listen to English again after speaking Japanese this entire time. Sleep. Next day have school. One of my cousins asks Riko if she was in her room last night. Riko looks confused.
No, I wasn't.
I thought I saw you come in.
Riko tells her it was a dream, but I'm silently shitting myself. Not only is there a ghost that might want me dead following us around, but it's gotten into our house. Great. Ask Fumika for a hand. Her yokai obsession has gone away some because of the onibi, but she still knows her stuff. After an intense questioning session, she decides it's a non-violent ghost that got attached to us because we paid attention to it. Fumika agrees to come over and see if she can do anything about it, but says there's not much. Fumika shows up the next day. Nothing especially spooky happened that day, just the usual of seeing it out of the corner of my eye. She instantly says she can feel it. She goes around the house for a while trying to make something happen, but nothing does. Looks kind of sad about it, but I really wasn't all for running into spooky ghosts right now. Later that night. Still hard to sleep because, again, spooky ghost. Trying to do so when I suddenly feel a wave of sadness come over me. Not actually sad, but more like being next to a friend who's really sad. Stomach turns. Really afraid to open my eyes, but I do so anyways. At the end of my room is the same woman from the graveyard. She doesn't look like she wants to hurt me or anything. She doesn't look scary at all, just sad. Fuck, I'd probably say she was kinda cute if it wasn't for the being dead part. Work up the courage to ask what she wants. She just shakes her head and comes closer. Okay, now this is getting weird. She puts a hand on my head. She says something about her son. I'm thinking that this ghost is going to drag me off, thinking I'm her son. She takes a hand off my head. She's gone. Never see her again after that. Mid-autumn. Fumika and I are hanging out without Yuiko or Aya sometimes. Slow day, so decide to head over to her place, which I can ride my bike to. Old house, up on the side of the mountains, so I usually walk my bike up because it's a bitch to pedal up there even though it's not that far up, still in civilization. Since it's on the mountain, it's surrounded by forest. Get to her house, she seems happy to see me. Her parents say hi to me, I know they like me. Just play some video with her for a while and time passes really quickly. Need to shit. Excuse myself and go to the bathroom. Might be an old house, but it's obviously been updated to be a little more modern. Notice it's getting dark out. Not that odd, since it's autumn. The sun sets at like 7 here even in summer. Still means I've been here for a few hours though. Through tiny toilet window see a dog or something moving through trees. Just assume it's someone's dog they let off the leash. Shit, wash, and go back downstairs. Go back to video. Big sliding doors in the living room so I can see the tree lean well. Keep feeling like I see something moving in the tree lean, but every time I try to look at it, it stops. Whatever. Kick Fumika's ass in SFIV. Turn to her to be a smug bastard about it. She's staring at the tree lean, ask why.
Oh, I thought I saw a dog out there.
I saw one earlier, it's probably one of your neighbors. None of her neighbors have dogs. In that case it's probably a stray. We did have a classmate who lost his dog, so maybe that was it. Open sliding door, call to dog. Can still see shape moving around in tree lean. Seems to be closer and we can see it better, definitely a dog, but doesn't come. Go back inside after trying and failing. By this time I'm almost ready to leave. Check outside again. Fucking dog is sitting in a tree like it's the most normal thing. As far as I remember, dogs aren't known for their ability to climb trees. Point it out to Fumika, and she looks over. Dog thing seems to get a little bigger and jumps out of tree. Glides to the ground. The reason it looks bigger is because this thing has wings. Yeah, fuck that. Tell Fumika I'm going to go home. She tells me not to leave the house and calls for her dad, tells him about the dog. He leaves the room and comes back with a baseball bat and a little notebook. Goes outside, starts yelling at the dog, didn't really catch most of it. Dog runs off into forest. Fumika says it's okay for me to leave. Ask her what that was. She says it's a Hainu, but her dad says it's not. The only Hainu I've heard of has been dead for hundreds of years, he said. Instead, he thinks it's a kitsune or other shape-shifting yokai that likes to take the form of Hainu. Apparently it's been around the house for a few years, but never hurt anyone, just likes to mess with them. I don't really care what it is, I just go home as fast as I can. Thankfully no winged dogs. This one still freaks me the fuck out, one of the scarier things that happened to me. The only abnormal thing that happened during the winter was how much it fucking snows in Hokkaido. Nothing really happens during spring, except Fumika starts coming onto me. Nice. Summer break. It's several weeks, no longer than a month in Japan cause year-round school. Hanging out with cousins and Fumika a lot more. Some week in the middle of summer break. 4 of us walking back home after blowing a bunch of money at the tiny arcade the town has. Close to home and the smell hits us. In 4 copper and blood skinwalker? More like rotting fish. Considering we lived by the ocean it wasn't that weird, but fuck it stinks. Keep walking home, slap on handy dandy face mask. Doesn't help a whole lot but makes it tolerable. Drop Fumika off at her house because it's a little closer than ours. Cousins and I walk back towards our house, the smell is still there. Seems to get stronger as we walk home. We're all gagging from the smell at this point, thinking a bunch of fish died on the shore or something. Finally get home, smell goes away. We ask Noriaki and Rico about the smell, they say they haven't smelled anything. Again, we do live by the ocean, so I just wrote it off as that. Next day, Yuiko says she feels sick. She's running a temperature of 38.5. Spends the day on the couch and in her bed. Take shifts taking care of her with the rest of the family. Fumika comes over to help out, I'm pretty sure we're her only friends. Riko wants us to go to the store to get some stuff for Yuiko. Hands me a list and money, tells Fumika to go with me. We go, and we get the stuff, then start coming back home. The rotting fish smell is still there, strong as ever. Rush back home. Give stuff to Riko, don't mention smell. Noriaki takes Fumika home, and day passes normally. Night. Staying up late, messaging Fumika. Start hearing movement outside. Probably wind or a random animal. Movement keeps up, longer it goes on the less I think it's the wind or an animal. Stop, stay quiet, and listen. Most I can hear is the normal nighttime sounds and Yuiko making noises in her sleep. Probably having a fever dream. Whatever, go back to phone. Start hearing movement outside again. Look out window. A big black mass is moving away from the house, looks either like a lump of shadows or the blackest black man you can think of dressed in a black winter coat. It's moving away from the house, kind of fast. I know you can start seeing things when you're too tired, so I say good night to Fumika and go to sleep. Next day, Yuiko is still sick, and her temperature has risen to 38.8 C. Day passes about the same. Yuiko's boyfriend comes over to take care of her, and an uncle probably okay with it because Yuiko is way too exhausted and sick to do anything, also he might get sick. Ask him about the fish smell. Has no idea what I'm talking about. Either it's gone or he has no sense of smell. Walk outside for a little bit. It's actually gone. Thank God it was really awful. Spend rest of the day talking to Yuiko's BF and taking care of her. He's a cool enough guy, a little oblivious sometimes, but nice regardless. Day ends. For no reason wake up at 1 or something. It fucking stinks like rotting fish so much. Sit up coughing. Notice window. Something has its face pressed up against it. Definitely not human. It has jet black skin, its eyes are pretty much bugging out, and it's got this giant tongue that's hanging out of a hole in its face that I guess was a mouth. As soon as it notices I'm awake, the thing shrinks down about a meter. I don't mean it like seemed to shrink, I mean its face and hands lowered themselves towards the ground. Frozen in shock as I watch it run off down the road and the rotting fish smell goes away. Not sure what to do now, Noriaki would be pissed if I woke him up. Silently shit myself until the sun comes up. Sleep most of the day, apparently Yuiko's fever went down some. Occasionally get up to eat and shit, and some other stuff. As far as I care, this day barely even happened. But the night certainly happened. Can't sleep because scared of black thing, also fucked up sleep schedule by sleeping all day. Wide awake and hyper aware of everything. Nothing for several hours. Then at around 1:30, I hear sounds from Yuiko's room. Someone is moving around in there. Might have left it alone, but one thing made me change my mind. There's a certain smell. I'll give you one guess as to what it is. Yep, it's rotten fucking fish. Gets really strong really fast. Trying not to gag, get out of bed and rush into Yuiko's room. The thing I saw at the window is on all fours, leaning over her and using its fucking terrifying looking tongue to lick her entire body. I don't mean it was molesting her or something, it was just licking her like how a dog might lick your face. Again, I'm fucking petrified just watching this thing. Yuiko is groaning as it sticks its fucking tongue down her goddamn throat. This is what snaps me out of my trance. Brain doesn't even bother to go into Japanese mode. Scream what the fuck, in good old American English. Suddenly it seems like the entire house starts moving. I hear Noriaki getting up, I hear movement from Aya's room, too, and, oh, fuck me. Yuiko wakes up with this thing's tongue stuck down her mouth. She makes a gurgle as the thing retracts its tongue from her throat, and then she starts screaming. Here Aya open her door, but turns the corner into the bathroom and vomits. Noriaki rushes into the room and turns the light on before the thing can escape. I see it entirely now, looks like a large bald man with pure black skin and wearing a black robe, kinda like a monk's. Its eyes still bug out of its fucking head, giving it a permanent expression of surprise. Nose is really malformed, the way it's stuck on top of its protruding lips makes it look like a turtle. Clawed hands make it look like one even more. Ears are way too big for its head, like if you took someone's ears and pulled on the tops and lobes until they were stretched beyond recognition. Makes some sort of ungodly hiss, and shrinks down. It fucking slithers backwards out the window. Yuiko is losing her shit. Noriaki goes to try and comfort her. Aya is still over the toilet, I'm trying not to vomit, and Riko rushes into Yuiko's room to help Noriaki console her. Somehow they convince her it was a hallucination from her fever, and that Noriaki had come to check on her, and she thought it was me. That's bullshit, but I believe it.png. In the morning, Noriaki goes with me to the town's temple and talks to the priest. Agrees to come to the house, does some sort of blessing to keep the black turtle monk creature away. Must have worked because I never saw that fucking thing again. Yuiko slowly gets better. Later ask Noriaki about what that thing was, kinda scary that he doesn't know. Every time I smell something fishy now I think about the black monk. This one has stuck with me since it happened. For another few months everything stays away, probably because of the blessing. Fall passes, nothing happens, winter comes. Fumika and I have started dating now, see her regularly. Her parents are okay with me coming over. I usually ask Noriaki to take me to her place because it's colder than Frosty's balls and the road's way too snowy to walk on. He's fine with it because he's friends with her dad and likes to see him anyways. Sometime mid-December, over at her house. She and I are just huddled under a blanket watching TV together. Noriaki and her dad are talking and seem to be having a good time. Comfy as fuck. Maybe about 2 or 3 hours, I notice that Noriaki and her dad have stopped talking. Look over at them, they're both just staring out the sliding doors at the trees. Turn to look out there. Not sure what I'm looking for, but remember the Hainu or Kitsune or whatever I saw before and think maybe that's it. Fumika seems to catch on, soon we're all staring out there. Try to ask Noriaki what he's looking at, he just shushes me and points outside. Can almost make out a shape in trees. Still thinking it's what I saw before, but can't tell it from the trees because it blends in well. I see movement, and that's when it hits me. Whatever it is, this motherfucker is big. Okay, it might not have been that big, but compared to any normal animals I saw out there it was larger. Maybe it was a bear. There is a species native to Hokkaido, something like a grizzly bear, but never saw one in these woods. Besides, it was winter, and they should be hibernating. Go back to watching TV, maybe it hadn't slept yet or woke up to eat or something. Fumika's dad gets up and closes the curtains of the window in the kitchen, then goes to the doors and draws the curtains. Okay. A little later Noriaki tells me we're spending the night, says it's because of the snow. Didn't think it was snowing that much. Whatever, I don't care. Send a text to Riko, says Noriaki already told her. Eat dinner with Noriaki, Fumika, and her family, they let me shower, and put a futon down on the living room floor. Since they only had one, Noriaki volunteered to sleep on the couch. Just chill with Fumika until I almost drift off, around 23:30. Since everyone is tired by then, we all agree to go to sleep. Sleep pretty well for about 2 or 3 hours. Wake up at about 2 to thumping on the sliding door. Start to get up to see what it is. Noriaki whisper shouts at me to stop. Almost shit my pants because I didn't know he was awake and all I could think was, oh fuck, the black monk came to finish the job. Tells me it's just a curious animal, and if I move too much, it might hear it and get spooked. Says to just go back to sleep and ignore the sounds. Yeah, that's not happening. Thumps go on for a while. Kinda sounded as if you hit the glass with a beanbag, soft and dull. Thumps stop. Different noise starts. Weird guttural sounds, but nothing that an animal couldn't make. Sounds like
Drew, der.
Keeps going.
Do I do it? Dare, daru, da, aru, dare, dare.
Still could be an animal, but this is fucking weird.
Da. Ray. Dare. 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 Dare, dare. Da.
Holy Mother of God, this thing is trying to talk.
Dare. 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 Dare desuka.
Trying my very best not to piss myself. A few minutes ago it was just animal noises, and now it sounded almost like a person, but it wasn't normal.
Dare desuka? Dare? Dare? Dare desuka.
If you don't know any Japanese, dare, pronounced dare, means who. Dare desuka, means who are you? Or who is it? But is more formal. Repeated that for a few more minutes before going totally silent. Eventually fell asleep from pure exhaustion. Go home in the morning, scrape brick dust out of boxers. Just keep trying to pass it off as an animal.